Bitcoin breaks through $10,000 for the 900th time, only to fall back below it almost immediately. But is $10,000 kind of just a distraction as Bitcoin converges to the apex of 3 different bullish patterns? What is up, everyone? Thank you for coming by Crypto Capital Venture. If you're here and not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button, hit those like buttons, it means a lot, and turn the notification bells on. I'm going to jump into the video. The title does say in 13 days. I have a very good explanation for that timeline. I really am expecting or anticipating a Bitcoin move within the next couple of weeks. I'm going to show you on the charts why. It's very convincing. At the end of the day, Bitcoin bulls may fail, so please be careful out there. I'm just providing you the data, and really, I'm interjecting some of my opinion. Maybe a little bullish, but it's my opinion. Let's look at this. Things to consider real quick before I jump into these 3 patterns I want to show you and what's happening on Bitcoin charts. Number 1, higher highs and rising wedges look bearish. It's just the bottom line. Whenever I see comments all the time on videos, on tweets, whatever, a rising wedge is looked at as bearish. But I want to say, rising wedges are so consistent with Bitcoin, especially in a parabolic environment, in a bull market. And I'm going to show you that in a second. And then number 2, Bitcoin is not overbought. So let me delete this real quick. Bitcoin is not overbought, and we're going to talk about that too. But let's look at this. This is Bitcoin on the daily chart. Real quick, just look at the last parabolic bull run. This is like 2015 all the way back here, and we know we had a swing high to 20,000. We have some drops in there. We have some dips. If we really analyze this on a micro level and start zooming in on the 6 hour, we have so many rising wedges happening in here as Bitcoin just keeps breaking through the upside of these patterns. A lot of different triangles as well in there, but this is what Bitcoin does. It's just a very quick glimpse. You just see Bitcoin with higher highs and higher lows doing its thing. So I just want to throw that out there because we're going to get ready to look at one in a second. But the other thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin is not overbought. Bitcoin is not overbought. And you can see on the charts, this is a daily chart on this RSI, the slow moving momentum oscillator, right around 57 right now. On the stock RSI, right around 37. We're not hovering up here, and this is the daily chart. It really doesn't mean much, right? So let's go to the weekly chart. And this is for context to what's going on with Bitcoin and what we can anticipate for Bitcoin's next move. But here is Bitcoin on the weekly chart now. This is the macro look. RSI right around 58, nowhere near overbought up here, right? And then stock RSI, quicker moving momentum oscillator, it does not mean much. We know Bitcoin can hang out up here for weeks. What we need to look at is the momentum and the overbought versus oversold on the RSI, the slower moving momentum oscillator. I can say if we zoom out on the charts, when Bitcoin was getting ready to kind of make its parabolic move, you can see where Bitcoin was kind of hanging out, right? Right around here, right in the 50s on this RSI Bitcoin. That's where it is right now. And we know there is so much upside for Bitcoin. Now let's dig into the chart. So we've been tracking so many different things, particularly since March. I have this rising wedge on the screen in yellow since March. I'm keeping it there. There's so much good context, so many good data points to that, and I want to cover that. Now, secondly, what I want to talk about, there are so many different patterns going on. You might be coming across so many different YouTube channels or tweets, so many different targets. The bottom line is this: there is a ton of resistance just ahead of us. So on this chart right here, I put this little rectangle, right, in red. That resistance is like right around 10,000 to 10,600 or so. So let's break this down. Besides this rising wedge we've been tracking and talking about, we started to form structure into this symmetrical triangle that we've done a lot of coverage on the last couple weeks, right? We've been testing this upper trend line of the symmetrical triangle, breakout target right around 11,900. Now, there's other things happening right now. And actually, Jason Williams on Twitter tweeted this earlier. And I've been watching this. I saw his tweet. I was like, this is awesome. He said something really big is about to happen in Bitcoin in like 10 days or sooner. Either way, buckle your seatbelts. he posted this chart. I'm not exactly sure his mindset, but obviously he's seeing this upper trend line, this green upper trend line. Bitcoin's kind of approaching it, right? And it's kind of getting squeezed into this circle area, and he's saying 10 days or less. So what I'm seeing is something similar. I don't know if it's within the same context of why he tweeted that or not, but this is what I'm seeing. So this is a very messy screen, but I'm going to break it down for you. Here's the symmetrical triangle that we just looked at in green, right? The other thing is this rising wedge that extends from March in yellow, you see here, right? So with those two patterns alone, we have two apexes, this purple apex, right? Which is that rising wedge that we just talked about, and this green apex, which is the symmetrical triangle that we just talked about. But we have this other ascending triangle right here, right? That Bitcoin is now in. I mean, we've hit enough swing highs with resistance right around this $9,900 area to really form this horizontal upper trend line resistance. So we really have another triangle pattern in play. So that's three patterns in play right now. And there's actually four. I just don't have it charted, but three apexes that Bitcoin is literally squeezing into right now. And this goes to around June 23rd. So right around 13 days. I don't know what Bitcoin's going to do between now and then, but Bitcoin is approaching the apex of all these patterns, right? Obviously, the apex of this longer term rising wedge has already been broken, but it's still, the data of that wedge is still in play, meaning the apex still confluent with this entire area. This entire area, right down to around 9,200, is very strong support for Bitcoin. On the downside, this is the bearish Dan talking. If Bitcoin breaks below 9,200, I'd be pretty concerned, right? There's so much happening on the charts in terms of patterns and momentum. If Bitcoin breaks below 9,200, right below that is just, you see all this black, right? We'd have to start really doing analysis, targets to the downside, but this is kind of a bullish video because we have a lot of bullishness happening. There's a lot of bullish talk in the crypto atmosphere, right? We know symmetrical triangles 60% of the time have an upward breakout, according to Bulkowski. Ascending triangles upward 63% of the time. Mind you, that's not like an 80% chance, right? Anything can happen, but these two triangles alone are bullish triangles, and Bitcoin is in this upward trend. A more important area or a more important pattern that I just have an interest in right now is Bitcoin on this daily chart. Now, this is a pattern I haven't even charted in this crazy chart over here with these three patterns, these three apexes. This is a rising wedge, right? And when Bitcoin is in a bullish environment, rising wedges don't scare me. I like seeing Bitcoin on the short term and in the long term, just in this series of higher highs and higher lows. Bitcoin did it out of the March swing low, right? Higher highs, higher lows, and then we just broke out of the top. It's a power move for Bitcoin. Everybody's waiting for a power move. Everybody's waiting for a parabolic move. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to look like higher highs and higher lows, even when you zoom out on the chart, and Bitcoin's going to break out of that. A lot of people see a rising wedge like this, and they automatically think, oh, bearish, break to the downside, consolidate, which is possible. It is. I just think if we get that bullish atmosphere where Bitcoin's going crazy and breaking out and breaking 10,000, it's going to be in an environment where it's breaking out of a pattern like this. So we're in a pattern, and this is a most interesting pattern for me. Currently, we're 53% to the apex of this rising wedge, 66%. According to Bulkowski, it's my dude. It's what we track. I use his data because I just think it's very reliable. According to him, the average distance to an upward breakout is 66% of the way to the apex. 66% to the way is around June 21st. So that is around 11 days. So we have all of this confluence on these three patterns over here on this chart to June 23rd, right? And then we have this rising wedge to 66% to the apex, June 21st. There is a big move coming. I'm not going to sit here and say it's definitely bullish, everybody. Please do not take that from this video. But there's a big move coming. Bitcoin, anything that trades, when it gets squeezed into decision time, usually makes a move. So there are no guarantees in this space, right? But we have a lot happening on the charts. Now, if we kind of go back, take a couple steps backwards, I do want to talk about this. On these smaller time patterns, we have different things in play. We even have a small ascending triangle that I haven't even covered just yet, with a breakout target of right around 10,600. Now, there is a lot of resistance up to that target price of 10,600 or so. We have, if we zoom out on the charts, you can see it, this swing high back in February, right around 10,500. That is such a big area of resistance, and that is along the path for Bitcoin. Obviously, we have this area, $10,000 and change, huge resistance area for Bitcoin. Bitcoin just keeps failing to stay above $10,000. Now, on the short term, what I'm watching right now, just when I'm opening the charts, I see some similarities in terms of what Bitcoin is doing on the charts right here, right, compared to back here. Bitcoin had this like little swing high back here, and it fell into an ascending triangle that it eventually broke out of the upper trend line right around $9,000. It tested it for a day or so, and then we broke to the target of right around $10,000. Similarly, Bitcoin had this swing high, and then we fell into something similar, well, exactly similar, a symmetrical triangle. And right now, not testing 9,000, we're testing $10,000. So if Bitcoin gets a very similar break out of the symmetrical triangle as it did back in May, beginning of May, Bitcoin target 10,600 potentially in play. So what we look for now is a break above this upper trend line, currently literally right around 9,900, a nice solid break, maybe some sideways consolidation, maybe even for a day. And then a breakout target, 10,600. That's what I'm looking at on the short term. There is so much going on the charts. I just wanted to kind of cover some of these things. There is so much more to talk about, but here we are, $9,900. We'll see what happens. If you're watching right now, thank you so much for cruising by. I appreciate you. I'll keep you updated. If we break 10,000, I'm going to try and do a live stream whenever that happens. I don't know when it'll be. Probably when I'm sleeping, but we'll see. Hit the like button on your way out. It means a lot. And again, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button as we grow this channel. I appreciate all of you coming by. I hope you're having an amazing day, amazing night. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.